In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Cosori Gooseneck Electric Kettle. I'm going to talk about the features, the design, and why you would even want one of these over a more traditional stovetop kettle. Let's do it. Welcome back to N-Loop. If you're new here on this channel, I talk about lifestyle, home items, and tech to help you cultivate your vibe in a space you love. So I finally bit the bullet and picked up this temperature-controlled kettle from Amazon, and I have to say it's been a complete game changer in my daily routine. I drink plenty of coffee through the morning, sometimes even need a little caffeine boost in the afternoon, and generally I like to end my days with some herbal tea. So if you're kind of like me, you might use your kettle more often than you think. One of the main reasons to pick up an electric kettle is for just how fast it heats up your water. You're so much closer to your perfect brew when you want it. This kettle holds about 0.8 liters of water, which is perfect for me. It's about 3 cups of coffee through the day. But it may be on the small end of the spectrum if you're trying to make enough for a whole family, but at the same time it heats up so quickly, it's not really that big of a deal. So yes, it boils water and it boils it quickly, but what about some of the other features? Like what makes it worth $70? The big selling point here truly is going to be those temperature presets. There are 5 of them here that correlate to the exact brewing temperature needed to achieve the perfect cup of your desired tea or coffee. Different teas and even coffee to an extent requires different brewing temperatures to reach their ideal flavor. And to be honest, I did not realize how much of a difference this was gonna make for me. For example, brewing loose leaf green tea at 180 degrees made it so much more flavorful. Another critical feature is this hold temperature button, which, by the way, it's not actually a button, but I'll talk more about that in the design section, so keep watching for that. If you press it while the kettle is heating, it will keep it at the set temperature for up to an hour. This also made a huge difference in my morning routine because I like to just have this thing ready to go while I'm going about my morning, and I don't have to dash across the room because the stovetop kettle has started boiling and it's screaming at me now. One thing I will say that's kind of annoying is that if you leave it off the base for too long, it just shuts off, and I get that it's a safety feature, but sometimes I'm just taking my time to do a little pour over. Speaking of, this kettle is ideal for making pour over coffee because of the gooseneck spout shape, which leads me into the design. Right off the bat, this is a compact, minimal, and sleek-looking appliance that fits cozily into your coffee nook in the kitchen. It's significantly less cumbersome than other kettles I've seen. Next, let's talk more about this gooseneck spout. The reason to go for this over a more traditional spout is because it allows for a precise flow of water when making certain types of tea or coffee, such as pour over. It's also just very aesthetically pleasing. Although I was not used to it when I got it and I treated it like a normal kettle at first, and I accidentally just turned it sideways and the water just shot out the side. So beware if you've never used one of these before, it requires a gentle touch. The rest of the design is pretty great too. It strikes a nice balance between modern with its black matte finish and classic with its more pear shape and rounded features. I kinda don't love how round the base is or the rounded loud buttons personally, but I get the style that they were trying to go for. Worth noting that these buttons aren't actually buttons. They're like those touch-sensitive buttons that don't actually press down. Also, they only light up once they're pressed, so if you're using this at night, you're gonna need to turn on that light. My biggest knock against the design has to be the handle, actually. It's just because it's so small. If this thing is filled to the max, it can get kind of difficult to pour with precision just because it's hard to get a good grip. Despite these little knocks, I still think it's a massive upgrade to the look and feel of your kitchen since it just looks good. So it's feature packed and it looks great, but why would you pay $70 for this over a $20 steel kettle? So I've already answered some of these questions, but let's review and go over a few more. Stovetop kettles just boil, and this has temperature control to achieve precise and perfect flavor. This kettle heats up faster. It reaches its boiling point in a little over 4.5 minutes, whereas a stovetop kettle achieves boiling point in over 5 minutes for 0.8 liters. The Cosori also doesn't screech when it reaches its boiling point, and it can hold its heat for an hour. The gooseneck shape makes precision pouring a breeze as opposed to the massive spout opening of a stovetop kettle. It also takes up less space in your kitchen versus a traditional kettle. It's also super easy to clean with a long brush and it dries quickly. It was really smart of them not to make the neck overreach the top of the kettle so you can turn it fully upside down. Meanwhile, stovetop kettles are bound to get dirty over time because of direct flame exposure, so they're a pain to clean or you just go through them at a faster rate. Lastly, one of my personal favorites is that you can grab this thing with your bare hands, whereas you need like an oven mitt or a towel or something to grab a stovetop one because it's so hot to the touch. The list goes on, but all of these things combine to make a really compelling case to try it out. Also worth noting that Cosori seems to be a pretty reliable brand. I didn't realize this until now, but I have 3 of their products in my kitchen: this coffee grinder, this pour over coffee maker, and now this kettle. And no, this video is not sponsored, but Cosori, if you're watching, hit me up. Overall, it's an amazing product and upgrade to your kitchen. Ultimately though, I did decide to go with a slightly different kettle. It's this Fabuletta one, just because I think it has a more subtle and sleek shape, so I just prefer it, but ultimately that's just a personal thing. Otherwise, they are functionally almost the exact same, so you can't really go wrong with either. If you want to check them out, I've left links down below in the description. I'm thinking about making a video on that one soon. If that's something you want to see, let me know in the comments below and subscribe so you don't miss out. So tying it all together, one of the main reasons I decided to even spring for this in the first place was to facilitate a little ritual where I can just make some coffee or tea, put on a record, and then just kick back and either enjoy my morning or unwind at the end of the day. So related to that ritual, if you want to learn more about speakers that I use to make listening to vinyl records a joy, go ahead and click the video on the screen right about now. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if you want to see more. See you next time.